Marriage is a unique time in individuals' lives. It's the biggest decision that most of us will make in our lives, and it's a time when young people return to the church and reflect on who they are and reflect on, or have the opportunity to reflect on, setting up their home. This program, in 3 parts, the first part is a one-on-one meeting with the priest, the second part is an all-day seminar, and the third part is a follow-up meeting with the priest. What we've spent most of our time on is that middle step, the middle component, which can be used as an all-day seminar. It is a seminar that is 6 sessions, and each session includes a teaching component, and then an activity for the couple to do privately, and then time for the couple to return and discuss with the other couples and the facilitator. Essentially, this program introduces couples to our theology of marriage, using lay language. We have piloted this program in the Boston metropolis and have found that this program really served to support the priests who were working with the couples.
Well, it was conceived a little bit over 20 years ago. So we came up with a program of requiring premarital sessions, preparation, to all couples that intend to get married in the metropolis of Boston. After 2 or 3 years of our initial program, Father Nick Cremidis, who was the chancellor at the time, came to me with a very, very interesting statistic. He told me that 99 couples that went through our program decided to postpone their marriage. They didn't get married as a result of going through this process because they realized that they didn't know one another very well, and they needed to really prepare themselves better for this lifelong commitment. Now, we saved ourselves 99 divorces. Now, who knows how many of them? I can't tell you how many of them finally did get married, but certainly they put off their marriage until they matured to the point of making that very, very critical decision.
We're getting married in 42 days.
We didn't really know what it was going to entail because we've been doing some preparation outside of this course, and when we sat down and looked at the pack and everything, we realized it was pretty much across the board. It encompassed both the spiritual, the practical, what to look for in the beginning of marriage, and we gained a lot from it. Yeah,
there's different but yet very much in line with all the stuff that we've been talking about, but kind of approaching it differently, and definitely very helpful.
It was also really cool to go through. There was a couple worksheets of questions that we really we had talked about the topics, but there were some very pointed questions. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Especially like with relation to things that we really didn't feel were that important to like attack. Like how do you feel about the other person's family and the way they raise their children? Yeah. How do you feel about money in this or situation? Whereas talking about tithing and how you spend your money and what you spend your money on and things that we like kind of were like, oh, I think we're kind of on the same page. But then when we went to do the checklist, it was like, are these things that you have talked about, you have concerns about, and we realized after we did them independently, we came back and talked about them. We were like, oh, I think we need to talk about these things more. Dr. Philip did a wonderful job, at least in our seminar, relating oneness to both marriage and your spiritual life, and not really alienating anyone by focusing on, he wasn't preachy in any way, but he, like she said, he covered the service pretty much from beginning to end, and was able to convey the concept of not only are you learning how to die to yourself for your spouse, but the two of you are learning how to die to yourself so that you can be one in the sight of God and continue to grow closer to salvation, through that bond that you have together. So it was really edifying. Yeah.
Just talking about Christ-like love without kind of drilling it over and over again, this is Christ-like love, but just looking at the elements of Christ-like love. What is Christ love? It's sacrificial, and all of these things, and looking at it without kind of being like, love with Christ love, and repeating it over again, but really kind of showing what that actually means. And I think that was really important to actually explain that, because I feel like that's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but to really kind of make it practical and relatable and be like, this is what we mean when we say that you're loving your spouse with Christ-like love. You know, what was his example? And that's how we're supposed to love each other.
We live in a culture where families are being increasingly disconnected from the church. The intent of this program is to invite couples from the beginning of their formation as a home to be intimately connected to the church.
Every parish and every metropolis should have a marriage preparation program, because we need to mentor our people in the ways of God. We need to prepare them for this lifelong commitment